stage 4 that oncologists can't cure. In this episode, I'm going to talk about high-dose ivermectin and treatment of aggressive cancers. Ivermectin has been vilified. It is a Nobel Prize-winning drug that has been used as an antiparasitic for many, many years. Merck had it on patent until 1996. And interestingly enough, Merck said it doesn't work for COVID-19. Well, we find out now that Merck has a 50-50 partnership with Moderna on mRNA cancer vaccines. Merck is going to be making billions of dollars on cancer and mRNA cancer vaccines. So they have no interest in continuing to investigate ivermectin for cancer, for example, because it's cheap, it's off patent. They're not going to make any money on it. So there is tremendous amount of evidence that high-dose ivermectin is extremely effective in treating many types of cancers. And the way I approach this is I usually look at, okay, what are the mechanisms of action, for example? What are the mechanisms of action by which ivermectin treats cancer? So I'm going to show you a couple of papers that will look at the mechanisms of action, what the studies have been done, in terms of maybe animal studies or human studies, looking at ivermectin and cancer. And then, because I get hundreds of emails and questions about this, what is the dosing? How do you actually treat cancer with ivermectin? So let's get started. The first paper I want to share with you is a paper from 2022 by an Iranian group headed by Dr. Loftidazeh. And this is a very interesting paper because it just summarizes in a nice way the mechanisms of action of ivermectin in cancer. It acts on these signaling pathways called PAC1 and ACT and mTOR and WNT pathways. These are pathways that are involved in tumor proliferation, tumor growth. And so ivermectin inhibits multiple of these pathways that inhibit tumor growth, tumor proliferation, leads to cell cycle arrest, and it also inhibits metastases and the ability of the tumors to create blood vessels for themselves. So that is key. Multiple pathways that inhibit tumor growth, tumor proliferation. Then ivermectin also acts on cancer stem cells. It inhibits cancer stem cells. And cancer stem cells are extremely important because they are involved in the aggressiveness of cancers. They're involved in metastases, and they're also involved in cancer recurrence. So imagine you get chemotherapy, you think you've been cured, but cancer stem cells tend to be resistant to chemo, and then your cancer comes roaring back because these cancer stem cells start proliferating again. So it inhibits cancer stem cells, very important. Ivermectin also stimulates cancer cell death, stimulates apoptosis, autophagy, other kinds of cancer cell death. Ivermectin also reverses multi-drug resistance. So if you develop resistance to certain chemotherapy, ivermectin will reverse it. And ivermectin acts in combination with chemo or radiation therapy. So it has those additional benefits as well. Another great paper is a paper by Guzzo from 2002. And this was basically a safety study on ivermectin. What kind of a dose of ivermectin can you take safely? So in this paper, they looked at 30 or 60 milligrams 3 times a week, or 90 or 120 milligrams as a single dose. And basically, the conclusion was that ivermectin was generally well tolerated with no indication of CNS toxicity. So this is neurological toxicity for doses up to 10 times the highest FDA-approved dose of 0.2 milligrams per kilogram. So 10 times that would be 2 milligrams per kilogram. Remember this number. This is, they've shown that ivermectin is well tolerated up to 2 milligrams per kilogram per day. And the approved dose is, of course, as an antiparasitic. It's 200 micrograms per kilogram or 0.2 milligrams per kilogram. Well, you need a higher dose for cancer effects. So again, ivermectin generally well tolerated at these higher doses and more frequent regimens. So a very important study showing safety of ivermectin at higher doses.